In terms of another Aussie opener, different format, onto the IPL chat, but it's Jake Fraser-McGurk. Before we go into more depth about the IPL itself and where teams are placed, there was another golden duck for Jake Fraser-McGurk last night, another failure, a low score. Oh man, I tweeted today that look, I think it's best for him now that he just gets out of the spotlight a bit.
Yep.
Lots of hype about him a year ago, rightly so. There was some extraordinary knocks in the IPL, calls for him to be in the Australia T20 World Cup squad. But, it's been very lean picking since then. And he's copping a lot of criticism on social media and in commentary as well. The commentators are on him. I would see from here just giving him a bit of time off, time away from the spotlight, work on his game, understand the kind of player he wants to be, learn how to pace your innings, and try master domestic cricket. What
Yep.
do you reckon?
And look, I think he's definitely young. He's definitely got the time on his hands. He's
Yes.
23.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but in terms of solidifying his status as that opener for Australia as well, this season was going to be the season for Jake, but he hasn't been successful. And there's still 12 games to go for DC, so he could still manage to do that. He could still manage to turn things around. And I necessarily don't think he's still see him as Australia's opener in 2 years' time, in 1 year's time for that T20 World Cup, for the even possibly for the 50 over World Cup as well. If he manages to have a wonderful summer for Australia
A lot
or
of work.
for his
A lot of work's got to
domestic
be
season,
done.
yeah,
A lot of work has to be
absolutely.
done for
I'm
that
not
team
saying that.
to.
Absolutely, he has a lot of work
Yeah.
to be done.
Technically, yeah.
But he has a lot of support behind him.
Mm.
The entire Australian coaching management and CA are going to be with him whatever he needs
Yeah.
to get done.
Yep. Yep.
And with IPL as well, it's an eye-opening season for him. I think if you look at his career, ever since he started, he hasn't had a massive failure of sorts. He hasn't had to look say he hasn't had to look on the mental side of things. What's happening playing under massive crowds with everyone hoping you would get 100 every single game. He hasn't had that yet, and this was the season where he got a taste of that. So it's going to be really massive for him to come out of this unscathed on the other side, and
Mm.
hopefully he'll have a brilliant rest of the season and Australian summer ahead as well.
Whether he plays for DC regularly throughout the season, I'm not sure because, Faf du Plessis will be back soon. I'm not exactly sure what's up with Faf. It might be a fitness issue. But once
Yep.
Faf comes back, he'll take that opening spot. And fair play to you as well, Nash. You called Karen Naya to play for DC in the 11, and he was
Yep.
absolutely outstanding yesterday. So he's going to have a place in the team. So, look,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Look,
Uh,
there's work to be done, right, for Jake.
yep.
There is.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Karun Rai, he came as the impact player
Yeah,
yesterday against MI, and he played a blinding innings. I
absolute
mean,
gem. And yeah,
absolutely brilliant. And
it,
and that's him coming off a massive 1 day season, domestic season as well. And that's why I had him in my playing 11, is
yeah,
because form does a lot for you
it's
in
it.
this game, and you just have a way of things when things are going away.
Yeah.
You just feel that this is going to be your time.
Absolutely. And I think that's what Jake needs, a good domestic
Yep.
season or two.
Yep.
Because I got some replies to my tweet, when I was talking about Jake Fraser-McGurk, just getting out of the spotlight a little bit. I think the pressure is probably too much to handle at the moment. Even heading back to last season, the start of the Australian summer, technically there are issues there. He got exposed by the Pakistan team in that ODI series, and then he just hasn't really, didn't even have a good BBL season up until the very last
Yep.
game, but it was too late for the Renegades. But we have a reply here from Chris Rose at Rosie underscore 6886. In my opinion, he doesn't have the cricket base to justify it yet. International bowlers have worked him out. He needs to perform at all levels. He's got to have that solid base of trusting his game. I completely agree with that. He doesn't know exactly the player he wants to be and how to pace an innings yet.
I think along with that tweet, what he said, I think I'll also go add to that. That is correct, but I'll also add that he needs to learn how to read the conditions,
100%.
And you can see
100%.
a lot of the youngsters coming through either say, this is how I'll play the game no matter the conditions. And maybe 6 out of 10 times that will work for you, but the rest of the 4 times might be in a semi-final or a final or a quarterfinal, and that's when you need it. um Same with Abhishek, someone like Abhishek Sharma as well. He came back with a 100, and after like 4 failures, 5 failures, and you know he the most important thing of any sort of format of the game is that you have to be consistent. You have to build a legacy, to make take your team to the trophy. You have to be
Yeah.
consistent. You can play one absolutely blinder of an innings and then fail in the
Yeah.
rest of the tournament. Then it's going to be of no use in the long term. So
Yeah.
Jake and other youngsters, they have to learn to read the conditions, read the pitch, read what the bowlers are doing. A lot of times, looking at Jake, it does look like he's just going to go all guns blazing with any ball, anyway on the ground. And once in a while, it might pay off, but it won't pay off all the time because
Yeah.
bowlers are smart.
Yeah, I agree. And that doesn't mean you don't have to play with intent. You can still play with intent, but give yourself a chance to have a look and see what's going on. So, yeah, some things to work on there. Another comment here from Detective Tintin at Troll King Tintin. He has no talent, just a blind slogger. But look, I don't think he has no talent. I think there is ability there. You don't score the fastest List A century in history if you've got no talent. He did great things in last year's IPO. He's got ability, but it just needs to be just needs to be brought out of him. I think that potential, mentally, and just being able to assess conditions, as you said, and just pace things, and just realize that there is a bit more. There is time in T20 cricket. Yeah, we might not feel that there is, but give yourself a couple of balls to get in,
Yep.
um,
And one thing I think
and play the percentages.
Jake would have realized now is that he had that young swagger about him that when he came onto the scene, a lot of
Yeah,
these youngsters do, like Ishan Kishan and Riyan Parag and most of these youngsters. But what Jake would have realized now is people would have told him, "Oh, you're going to India, a lot of flat pitches there," and that's not the case everywhere. You might
it's
get a flat pitch at Wankhede, or you might get a flat pitch in Delhi, but you're not going to get a flat pitch in
no,
Chennai or
yeah,
or Kolkata. It's going to be different every single venue. You get an absolute belter in Bangalore, and then you get a
yeah,
ball that turns miles in Chennai, and you have to tackle that. So that's why it's important to read the conditions and play accordingly. You can't go,
100%.
you can still hit 6 balls out of the ground in a single over, but you still have to pick your shots. You
No,
can't
yeah.
play the same shot on every
I
single
think
ball.
that's the thing with Jake. He's trying to hit the ball too hard. I've been watching him in this tournament, trying to hit the ball too hard, not focus too much on placement as well. There was one particular innings he struck at about 100. He faced 30 odd balls and was just struggling. Then Kevin
Yep.
Peterson came out and spoke to him on the field, and just not really, he just focused on hitting the ball too hard instead of looking to place the
Mm.
ball into gaps as well. That's another part of it. A couple more comments before we move on to the IPL as well. From JSV at JS underscore 129. The good thing is time is on his side. With some hard work and focus, he can definitely bounce back. I do 100% agree with that. He's a young player. He's had a tough 12 months, but I think with the right support and the right mentality, he can come back.
Yep.
And then just one final comment here from Diraj Srivastava from Diraj underscore ruler. Jake reminds me of Yukman Chand. He was highly hyped player at 19, but then the IPL season came and he got exposed. IPL challenges you with the world's best bowlers every 2 to 3 days on the same platform. It's not easy for youngsters to adapt that quickly. And goes to your point as well about adjusting to the circumstances, adjusting to the
Yep.
conditions. Yeah, it's spot on. And I
It's
think these are things
it's
he's got to
the
learn.
thing is, like, Justin, I'm getting philosophical here, but just like everything we do,
Yeah.
it's okay to accept that the bowler is better than you on some days, and it's better to take a step back in order to take 2 steps forward.
Yep, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, there could be an over that you want to see out, or a particular little
Yep.
period that you just want to look to get off strike or work it around for a bit, and then pick your bowlers who to target. I don't know if there's a whole lot of strategy involved in Jake's game at the moment, so there'll be a bit of thinking involved in how to assess and pace an innings, as we've said. But fingers crossed he finds his form, very soon. I don't know if it'll be this season, given when Faf does come back and Delhi, the way their team is balanced, they might look elsewhere. But fingers crossed it does work out for him because he can be a real asset for Australia in white ball cricket
Uh,
in the coming years.